Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to Season 4 of the Mindshare Podcast. Additional podcasts are available at mindshare101.com and on all the major podcast platforms. This week's episode is sponsored by Kits Keep in Touch Systems and the Buzz Conference. Now, make sure you connect with the Buzz Conference by visiting their website, www.thebuzzconference.com, and by following them on Instagram at the Buzz Conference. Now, quick note over here. Due to provincial legislations, the Buzz has had to reschedule the live in-person Recharge 2022 event from January 13th to March 31st, but there is still a live, free virtual event taking place on January 13th, so be sure to check out the website, check out the Instagram account, get all of the details, and make sure that you join the free event if you are listening to this in time. Also, when was the last time that you checked out the Kits Cross-Channel Marketing Suite? This is your full-on marketing toolset, starting with Loop CRM to help keep you organized, the most personalized and effective direct mail in the industry, email newsletters, websites, social media content, our super easy 3-click landing pages complete with automated action plans, and so much more to help you manage your business, generate more leads and more referrals, and build that mind share to drive even more sales. You can learn more on my site, mindshare101.com, by clicking on Marketing. And as you know, we are still on a push to 100 reviews on iTunes, and it is going extremely well. So thank you, everybody, for the amazing, amazing feedback. If you haven't yet, please take 2 minutes to go to this link, www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Click that link, go there. You can give us a big 5-star review, a nice little rating, tell us how much you love the show. It really is that easy. And as always, let me please say thank you in advance. Today's episode is number 163. She is an author, speaker, media contributor, and founder of the Listings Lab. A real estate marketing and business scaling vanguard, she made the decision to stop selling after 13 years in the business and help agents create scalable, sustainable businesses by creating relationships at scale. The Listings Lab was founded in 2018, and she and her team have showed over 20,000 agents how to build scalable, sustainable business for the digital era that don't require a choice between lifestyle and financial freedom. A sought-after media expert on real estate marketing, she and the Listings Lab method have been featured in Forbes and Entrepreneur, and she has spoken at the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Sales Convention for 55,000 agents. This week on the show, I am joined by founder of the Listings Lab, Jess Lenouvel. Jess, welcome to the Mindshare Podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, it's a super pumped to have you here. Actually, we were supposed to do this for everybody that's tuned in. We were supposed to do this a couple of weeks ago, but as I kind of joked about off the top, the Transformers took over the world, and things happened, and we didn't make it happen. But doesn't matter. Here we are, fresh off the new year, and You shared some exciting information off the top as we got online today about a big move that you're making.
Yeah, I am 8 days out from a move to Eleuthera, Bahamas.
Wow, that sounds so amazing. I got I know we're just getting to know each other, but I got one favor to ask you.
Yeah.
Can you send me one palm tree?
Hey, it's my husband, that has been his absolute dream. Since we met, he's one day I need to own a palm tree.
That's it. Small one.
I don't know how well it's going to do here.
Well, I would try. I mean, better than those light up ones that people put in the backyard. But no, anyways, it's absolutely amazing to have you here. Getting into it, I'm curious because I was doing some digging and obviously trying to learn and understand what's your background, what are you up to, and noticed that you were in sales.
I was,
and was wondering you were selling for 13 years. When did you stop and why did you stop?
So August of this past August, I actually let my license go. So I was licensed up until just this past August. The only reason I let it go is because I can't actually move and be licensed. But I started selling when I was 21. So I was young and sold actively for 13, 14 years. And then really, when I made the decision to start the Listings Lab, I completely stopped.
That's it.
Yeah, that was it. I didn't want to be competing with my agents that I was working with. I really just wanted to make sure that I was super focused on making the program the best that it could be. And I'm really one of those people who focus breeds excellence, right? Like I'm if my focus is torn between multiple things, I'm not going to show up the way that I want to.
Yeah, I'm totally there with you. Like if you're not actually locked and loaded into what you're actually doing there, it's I mean, it's tough to be authentic. It's tough to put the best version of yourself. And I think that people catch on to that pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, for sure. People can feel when you're not, when your heart's not in it.
Yeah, totally. And so for you, it was like that thing of going through from actually selling to trying to figure out how to help people do better and going, wait a second, I'm actually enjoying that more. And I find that it'd be more strategic if I wasn't selling any longer.
Yeah, it was more of like an existential crisis.
Yeah.
Rather than anything else. I was in Hawaii with my husband. We were driving. I started crying. He's like, what could you possibly have to cry about right now?
Oh my God.
And I was like, I don't think I want to sell real estate anymore. And he was like, our entire lives are built around the fact that you sell real estate. Right?
He's like, I haven't had to do anything.
Like, what are you talking about? Well, my husband has essentially worked with me from since we got together.
Yeah.
And he was like, what are you saying? And then, but he is the most supportive person in the world. He basically said, okay, so what are we going to do? And
that's where you said, like, I've got this new idea.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So here, staying with the whole sales thing for a second. And I guess part of this is to try to drive home a point to people. And I love asking these questions and digging into folks that have been in the game and have done and have had success. And where'd your first deal come from?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably Facebook Marketplace or Facebook Classifieds. Way back when.
Interesting.
I am super introverted.
Are you?
Right. In person. Okay. Right. Yeah, I'm not the door knocker. And I really needed to figure out a way. I started at Keller Williams. There was a lot of like door knock and cold call and get yourself out there and be like a high D out there. And it's not who I am. And I had to figure out a different way. And at the time, Facebook was this brand new thing. I'm very old. Facebook was this brand new thing. And there was a classified section. I went in there. I started giving people value. I started talking to people. And that's where I started doing that. That's really where I initially built my business.
Was off of Facebook Marketplace, like in that or the classifieds area of that.
Yeah.
Interesting, eh? So that's where the first deal came from.
Yeah. My mom's been in real estate for 35 years.
Yeah.
So, she brought me into a couple things here and there, but like that's where my first deals came from that were just mine.
Cool. Now, were you like strictly working on the digital side of things, or was there other marketing channels that you were using to help you grow the business and grow yourself and even just get out there? And of course, like I like to call it, build the mind share with people so they know who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say most of it was digital right from the beginning. I definitely did some like guerrilla flyer campaigns at the time, which would just never fly now. But a lot of the stuff that I was doing, I would flyer a condo building or, something like that, there weren't a lot of people who were being really consistent about anything at the time. So like a lot of the things that I did 14 years ago or 15, maybe 16 years ago now, I wouldn't do now. But I definitely, it was mostly Facebook at the time and Facebook and some flyers.
Okay, fair enough. So the flyers would be a little bit of the old school stuff. The Facebook's obviously the new school stuff. Mm-hmm. Was it a pointed thing for you to say, I've got to mix both of those right now? Or was it just like, we're trying some stuff, we're going to see what works?
I was throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was brand new. My mom had been in the industry for so long. Her business was 100% referral.
Yeah.
She was in the physician niche. So she primarily worked with doctors. And I was 21.
Yeah.
I looked like I was 16.
Sure. So it's hard to get some of those more professionals to kind of look at you like, yeah.
It just, I got to like tag along and I learned a lot about the business from her. But like, I wasn't doing a ton of like getting business from the same methods that she was.
Right. And so I guess maybe even fast forward to like where you are right now, when you look at like the overall of marketing, and based on the fact that you did stuff on Facebook. In fact, let me circle back on that for a second. From the Facebook aspect, like as classifieds, was it also a thing of you going and saying, I'm going to put out content and I'm going to get organic and I'm going to engage with people? Or was
Not
this
at the
like,
time.
okay.
Yeah, I mean that developed over time.
Okay.
But right from the beginning, I used to call it prospecting in my PJs. Right.
Okay.
I had this little tiny, it's so funny how like we went really small with technology and then we got big again.
Yeah.
I had this little tiny laptop that would like fit in like a little handbag. And I used to just sit on my couch and just talk to people. I mean, really, at the time, I didn't really realize exactly what I was doing, but I was taking the principles of just have more conversations. And I was just doing it in a way that for me felt more scalable, but I was also more comfortable doing.
Right. Now, in terms of that, then, and this is where I was going to go with that, was like from a new school and an old school perspective, would you say that now, today's world, it's all about the new school? Like, don't worry about the old school tactics? Or is this like no, you've got to combine the whole thing? What's your take on that?
I mean, we don't really do anything manual or physical anymore. We don't really teach it anymore at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, sales is sales. It doesn't matter if you're selling a scarf in like the town square and like the, I don't know, in like Renaissance times, or you're having you're creating a digital media campaign. Mm-hmm. Sales is sales. It's current situation, desired situation, and then, providing a solution to get from one to the other. And so, a lot of it just came down to, and still comes down to, just what's the message? What are we talking about? And just putting that message in front of people where they're spending their time. And for 90% of people, they're spending their times on their phone. Mm-hmm. So it just comes down to getting that message, getting that awareness, and breaking through the noise on the platforms where people are living.
Right. So trying to just be, okay, fair enough. I totally understand that. And now, deal number one came from somebody off of Facebook. Yeah, I guess you didn't know the person at the time.
No.
Where would you say over 13 years though, and you said mom's like was 100% referral, took time obviously to build that, and it takes time for anybody to build something like that. Where would you say over 13 years though, you saw most of the biz? Was it people you know, people you don't know? Was it a mix of both?
It was 100%. It was digital.
Digital.
Yeah.
But again, people like when we look at the audiences, is it like repeat referral people, or is it like complete strangers, random people?
100% strangers.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I would say like repeat referral made up maybe, especially when we're talking volume, repeat referral was maybe 15%.
Interesting. So 85% of your business was actually coming from group number 2, what I call the strangers.
Yes.
Interesting. And then so from a marketing budget perspective, maybe not to get into total like dollars and cents around or maybe I don't know if you want to share that, but like what kind of dollars were you spending in a month to kind of run this type of marketing?
Yep. About $3,000 a month.
About $3,000 a month. Okay, cool. So So
in the end.
Right. Yeah. You didn't start there, obviously, but again, it started to climb to be that type of money that you're spending in a month. Now we got to see the ROI coming back on the other side of it. And
exactly.
All the while,
honestly, like the way that our team was set up, that $3,000 was a drop in the bucket.
Right. Now, was there anybody on the team dealing with the repeat referral stuff, or you guys just weren't getting any of it?
No, we were getting it. We just weren't like it. We weren't relying on it as a primary source. Okay. It was the way that I've always looked at it is, your repeat and referrals, and this is very different than the way that most people look at it.
Yep.
I've always looked at it as, your repeat and referrals are the icing, but your marketing is the cake. Mm-hmm. And, the more people that you can bring in from the marketing side of things, the more repeat and referral are actually going to start to happen organically. And there's so much more control and so much more predictability when you can create predictability, consistency through the marketing channels. Really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how consistent you are, how many touches you do, how many conversations you have with your past clients. You're still relying on other people to market for you. You're still relying on other people to have those conversations. And, as the market comes up and down, your business will tend to ride that same wave if you don't have something that's going to provide a foundation of this is what's coming in. This is what I can count on.
And so in what you just said, then, if I understand correctly, is that foundation is actually the mass marketing that you're doing to the strangers and that audience build.
Yes.
Interesting. So you don't consider the contact list the foundation?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the way is, and your database, it used to be, I heard somebody the other day say, only 14% of your database is at play at any one time. I think it's closer to 5 now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that 14 is unreasonably high. And, let's say that you've been in the business for a while, you have 1,000 past clients. Mm-hmm. You've only got 5% of those that are even remotely in play at one time. And so you really want to look at, especially if you want exponential growth or you want a lot of scaling happening in like a 1 year or 2 year time, that business has to come from somewhere. And so it's not going to come, the exponential growth isn't going to come from a database.
Interesting. And so now let's go back then at $3,000 a month, and you didn't start at $3,000 a month. What is that number that you might recommend to somebody that they should be investing into the group number 2 marketing? Let's say so
I would say I break it down into 2 pieces. Yeah. There's the actual lead gen. So the person who's taking just generating the stranger, but then there's the psychological journey from stranger to client. Right. I would prefer to spend more of the money going deeper rather than wider. Yeah. So let's say that we bring in, 500 people. Instead of bringing in, 3,000 people as strangers and then try to manually convert those people, I would prefer, let's bring in 500 really relevant people and then spend the rest of that budget on the nurturing, on the retargeting, on the messaging, getting that person from stranger to client so that you're actually getting more ROI from a smaller group.
Yeah, that part I would totally agree with. Is that now when you say getting them into what? Would that not be going into the contact list that you can work the contact list and be able to go deeper with these people?
Not necessarily, because I think that once you get to a certain point in your business, working that contact list is very manual, can be very time consuming, and isn't necessarily going to be the best use of someone's time. So we really once you get to a certain level of business, and keep in mind, most of the people that we're working with are already at 6 figures. Mm-hmm. Right. So
it's a little bit more of a marketing budget available to be able to put out there.
Yeah. And they're people who are really wanting to scale more quickly. They're not really building that initial foundation of their business. They may not know where the next deal is coming from, but they know that they have a certain amount of trust in the baseline foundation of their business. So really what they're looking to do is let's say someone comes to us at 200,000 a year. They're saying, okay, I really want to get to that 7-figure mark as quickly as possible. What are the foundations? What are the things that I need to do to create these relationships at scale so that I can have more conversations, talk to more people, but the people are coming to me as opposed to me generating a lead, phone number, and an email address, and then having to try to chase those people down and convert them into something.
Right. So does this hinder very much on a full-on content strategy then for what people are doing to actually put themselves out there?
Yes.
And is that about an organic content strategy?
Both. So we teach both the organic marketing stuff, and then we also teach the paid traffic. In my opinion, I think way too many people are spending money on something that's not tested. So why would you? It's just
no. Hold on a second. We don't do anything in this world without it being tested.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying.
Hold on.
There's so many people who are just and honestly, it's painful to look at sometimes. Where you're scrolling through your Instagram feed and you see an ad from an agent, and God knows how much money they've spent on it, but it just looks like they put their business card on, and I'm like, what's that?
Repetition and consistency is the key, right?
Exactly.
This is like the postcards we get, the flyers we get, the whatever door hangers that you get. They come by once, they never come by again. It's a waste.
Well, and honestly, especially with digital marketing, people are being bombarded. And so a lot of the time it comes down to, is the message relevant? Are you speaking to someone with the message that they need to hear from you to actually break through the noise? And most agents are just kind of creating more noise. It's the I'm here for all of your real estate needs. I can help you buy, sell, rent, and invest from here to Timbuktu. And at the end of the day, that's just adding to the noise. It's not actually breaking through anything. So initially, however the lead comes in, I mean, I'm kind of the mind that anybody can generate a lead. It's not that hard. But and I hear all the time, oh, like such and such a platform, the leads are crap. All cold leads are crap, right?
Yes.
Like it doesn't matter where you've generated it from. If it's a brand new cold lead, it's not going to be a great quality lead. Don't spend your time trying to convert that person and build the relationship manually. Put the content that they need to see in front of them. Use psychology. Take them through a psychological journey from stranger to client, and then have spend your time, energy, and bandwidth on them once they've gone from cold to warm.
Okay, so then two questions arise from that. The first question would be, what kind of content are you suggesting that is not just noise? And just a couple maybe ideas. The second question becomes, and again, correct me if I'm not understanding this the right way here, but the minute I generate that initial lead from that, let's say, cold person, again, correct me here, it's not about taking them, putting them in the database for what you're suggesting. It's about continuing to serve up more value add content to these people.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the value add content going through automated channels that you've essentially set up and that leverages more of the content you put out?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to push, it depends on what the budgets are looking like too,
absolutely.
Right? Like if you're like, you can go the organic route. I still consider email to be an organic route.
Yep.
Right. So you can go the organic route, or if you want to, and the message is vetted and you've seen results from it already, then you can throw some money behind it and actually force the content into feeds. Right. So really at the end of the day, it's not really about I think so often people get so wrapped up in what are the steps of the funnel. And that's actually a lot less important than what is the message. Like, what are you putting out there? What are they seeing? What are they reading? What are they watching? As opposed to, okay, so they opted in here, and then this was connected we're retargeting, and then we're emailing, and then we're texting. If the message isn't relevant and you're not actually creating a relationship and there's not attention, all you're doing is you're spamming people, and it's annoying. So it really comes down to, is this a relevant person who you've brought in? Are you then feeding them relevant content that is giving them exactly what they need in order to choose you? Because really at any one time, there's putting someone on let's just say like putting someone on a property drip. We see this all the time, right? Hey, this person came in cold. I had an initial conversation with them. I put them on a property drip. That person's probably on like 3 other property drips.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right? So it comes down to like, are they opening your emails? Are they actually feeling more and more connected to you? Are you building a relationship with them in their minds without actually having to physically have that conversation? You can't call someone and have a conversation with them every day, but you can put a piece of content in front of them every day that's going to build that relationship over time.
Okay, so again, I just love to pick on this stuff. This is great stuff.
Yeah.
First, it was putting content out there that is going to be relevant to them, and then you use the word the need. So really, again, satisfying that need essentially would be where I think you were going with that. So the question would be then, if you've never conversed with these people, hold on. Backtrack. You put a piece of content out there. People have seen the content. Somebody has hopefully clicked on that content because they found it valuable. Is that kind of the perspective?
So no, like running an initial lead gen ad or an initial thing out there, it doesn't matter what that initial thing is. It can be a property, it could be a hot sheet.
Give us some examples. There you go. Give us some examples of that. Where would I start?
It could be a listing, it could be a hot sheet, it could be anything. Okay. What actually matters is what you put in front of them after that.
And the only way to know how to get that in front of them is because they've actually clicked on something.
Yes.
And the data has come back and said, there's this group of people now that seems to be interested in what you put out there.
Yeah. Like that's when the retargeting piece starts.
Right.
Right. So like they've been pixeled or, they've been, there's cookies there that are doing something. And what we're really looking at here.
Sorry, Jess, we call the cookies, they're doing something, they're building mind share.
Okay. I love it. I love it. So really, and I mean, to bring it back to this idea of mind share is, all we're doing is we're building top of mind awareness. Right? Like,
that's what we're doing.
And it all comes down to consistency and frequency and relevancy. Those are the three things that are going to keep you top of mind. The human brain can only remember two names in any industry quickly. So you have to be one of those two things. I use this example a lot. If I'm going to ask you to name a brand of running shoes, even if you don't wear Nikes are going to be in your top two list because they are top of mind. And we're doing exactly the same thing. Everyone out there knows an agent.
Yeah.
And so what we need to do is you need to break through the noise and the barrier, and you need to be consistently that person's, that person needs to feel connected to you, and you can't do that manually anymore.
Okay. Let's do this. Roll up the sleeves on that one for a second. Okay. So here's the deal. So we've got this person in the ecosystem. We've dropped some cookies. We're out there. We're building some consistency. It's all the while. It's obviously costing us some dollars to do that, right? So far, we haven't spoken to these people in a personal way at all. Now the idea is about building that relationship, right?
Exactly.
So if we don't step in and do it manually and make the phone call or make the connection, how are we building the actual relationship outside of just being in front of them?
We're putting different types of content in front of them that's going to take them from stranger to client. And that is a psychological journey, right? And it's a psychological journey that's actually much easier and much less invasive to do through content. And so the first thing that we have to do is messaging. And this is why I tell people all the time, the first step of marketing is niche down. Figure out who are you targeting? What are their pains, problems, fears, and desires? Do the market research, have the initial conversations with the people who are in your network who fit that demographic. I'm not talking about a postal code. I'm talking about upsizers. Yeah. Upsizers, downsizers, first-time buyers, dog owners and condos, figure out who you want to serve at that higher level. You are not going to lose the rest of your repeat and referral business by niching down in your marketing, right? All you're going to do is be able to cut through the rest of the noise of all the agents saying, I'm here for everything you could possibly need, pick me, right? So when it really comes down to it, it's niche down, do the market research, understand the language, the pain points, because agents tend to spit out realtor language a lot. And that's not what's actually going to break through the noise and help people feel connected to you. Really good marketing is being able to articulate what's in the back of someone's head better than they can. When you can do that, they will automatically build trust with you and credit you with the solution.
And that's all still through what we say organic messaging, but nothing as a one-to-one just yet. It's still kind of on a more of a mass.
And this is the question that I ask all the time. Would you rather have to call, like let's say you're generating thousands of leads. Would you rather sit there and call and hope that you can get somebody on the phone so that you can try to build that relationship really quickly? Or would you rather be able to put out this content on a one-to-many standpoint, one-to-many, work really hard on the quality of that content, push it out in front of these people, and then have them call you? This is really what we're...
I will say this. I think that the entire industry has flocked to that way of thinking over the past number of years because of the influx of technology, because of the fact of, online lead generation, which either comes from social media and or through, paid ads and Google and SEO and all that other stuff. One thing we know is as we look at the bell curve over the past number of years, right, we saw a lot of agents try it. Spend a lot of money on it. Then it tabletopped and people were like, I really don't know. And then we've seen that sort of bell curve come down because a lot of people, again, throwing the shit at the wall, hoping something sticks, spending lots of money, not seeing the ROI and coming back and saying it. And again, please feel free to disagree with this statement. But most people that we speak with, easily what comes through this mind is that 2/3 of the leads that are coming through from online are of zero quality whatsoever. Right. So now I look and I go, well, We're going after a ton of strangers.
That also can be a quality issue and a targeting issue.
100%. Listen, for sure, right? And it comes down to like who's running the ads, what kind of content you're putting out there. There's a whole different bunch of different factors out there. But I would even argue like there's some really good reputable companies in our industry that a lot of people worked with and tried. And again, you got a lot of the same feedback of like, yeah, people didn't even know who I was, or people like were like, why?
And that's why 100%. That's why I'm not a huge fan of agencies.
Okay. So tell me what do I do? I do this all on my
Your
own?
content has to look like you, sound like you, and it has to be customized to you, your market, and the demographic that you're wanting to work with.
Agreed,
How could you possibly build a relationship with someone when someone else is speaking for you?
Fair enough. I like that. Okay. So then I'll just come back to that. Is it not difficult to build a relationship with somebody if okay, look, you could build a know you, like you. How do you build the trust you? Still through content?
So eventually that person reaches out. You have the one-on-one conversation.
Okay. And now they move into the contact list, and that's where conversion comes from.
Exactly. You should have two sets of contact lists. These are my past clients. These are the people that I've spoken to. These are the people who've reached out. And then these are the people that we're not there yet, but are, they're in the funnel. Yeah. We're putting content in front of them. They're following us on social media. We're nurturing them in a way without. I mean, so many agents they go about their business like they're selling vacuums, right? It's a call and call and call and call and call, and really, like, I think that's why we have this terrible reputation. The general public. Not everyone, but like the general public, like we're not a trusted professional industry. And I think a lot of it comes down to how so many people in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s were taught to get business.
I think that when we look at this business, I think we just nailed it a second ago there. There is an aspect of the, generating a lead and the prospecting. Yeah. There's a part of it that you can automate in terms of some of the follow-up. And I would call that what I call a passive touch point. I do strongly believe that the active touch point is still imperative. Like you want 100%. To close that deal. You want to convert that lead into an actual client. This is where, again, that active touch point has to come in, right?
Really what we're talking about is what we're wanting to generate is the come list me calls. Hey, I've seen your stuff. I'm ready to work with you. Yeah. And that's really what we're narrowing down at, where we're top of mind, we've built trust, and you can build trust online. And I think that this is the piece that most agents don't realize. You can build trust through content online. It has to be the right content. There has to be consistency and frequency. And we're using not only the mere exposure effect, but also an element of intimacy. Most agents, what they're putting out there, there's nothing personal in it. How can you possibly build a personal relationship with someone when you don't know anything about them?
Okay. Take me there then. Sorry.
So if we're looking at we teach 9 different types of content, but I'm going to simplify it into 3, cool. Right? So if we're going to look at 3 different sets of buckets, right? We've got authority content, we've got social proof, and then we've got personal content. And you need all 3 buckets in order to get somebody to a point where they feel comfortable and they know enough to reach out. So if I'm going to break these 3 buckets down, like let's say authority content. Authority content is going to be, authority value. So providing value, teaching, things like that. It's also going to be your process. So process solution, meaning what do you actually do? What is your solution? What is your product? Explaining to people, because again, if you do the same thing that everyone else does, and there's no actual value add in your product that is specifically geared towards the niche that you're targeting, again, they're going to use their cousin. They're not going to use you, right? So what is your signature system, your signature process, what your core services, whatever you want to call it, right? What sets you apart from other people? So there's those. Myth busting. Also fantastic forms of content. The truth behind open houses. What does sold over asking really mean? Right? So actually pull the curtain back from all the smoke and mirrors that so many agents have been trying to use for so long. Become that beacon of truth for your audience, where they see you and they say, hey, you know what? this person's actually is actually trustworthy and is giving me the real goods. And then you've got, social proof. Social proof is not just listed, just sold content. It's case studies, testimonials, and PR.
It's a great point right there. I like that. So everybody write that one down.
Case studies, testimonials, and PR, right? So case studies. Tell the story of your clients, stories or the property or whatever. Case studies are 22 times more memorable than facts, right? So you throw a just listed out in front of them. It gets filtered as noise because everyone else is doing the same old stuff. So you have the ability to get somebody to buy in to, oh, this person is exactly where I was when I started. This is the process that they were taken through. This is the end result. It's like HGTV. We're all obsessed with HGTV. Mm-hmm. HGTV is an entire network of case studies. Yep. That's all it is. Yep. We're all living vicariously through the people that we're watching on these shows. All we're doing is we're taking that and showing people what our actual process looks like. So we're showing people that we have business. We're showing people we provide a lot of value, and we're actually like getting them to buy into the story.
What's your take on then advertising like, just sold this for over asking?
I think it's garbage. And I honestly, I think that the general public is smarter than that now.
What do you mean? Everybody's selling for over asking. Well, especially in a market like we're in today, right? Like every single thing out there is what did you do wrong?
Is getting so. It was like a couple months ago. And again, like that's a really great content piece. Cause like I'm walking down Logan.
Yeah.
Right. Walking down Logan, and I look over and I saw a sign that said sold 146% over asking. And my thought is, well, that person was bad at pricing. Right. I'm not thinking like, oh my gosh, that agent sold that property for 146% over market value.
You see, but that's us from a marketing perspective thinking that way. I believe that the consumer looks at it and goes, they make too much money. Right. Mm-hmm. Like just there's again, the professionalism, the message and the marketing and what are you sharing with people? And is that the right type of social proof and testimonials to put out there? I don't believe that is what is going to get it for you.
I agree.
Right. I just don't. So, okay. Question on this then. As we look at this, a lot of what we're obviously talking about right now is leveraging the social media platforms, building content, building that mind share across those channels to then get people to go, I like her or I like him. And I'm going to click on that. And once they click, we've now essentially cookied them so that we can then retarget these people, serve
and
them
put
up
even
more value.
More.
Right.
And
put more value.
Like put more value in front of them. And the relationship and more of the trust side of it comes in through the personal content.
Right.
So personal content is going to be personal beliefs, personal philosophy, personal story.
Okay.
Right.
Personal beliefs.
Personal beliefs, personal philosophy, personal story.
Gotcha. Okay. Right? Write that down, everybody. Write that down.
People want to work with people that, and this is the example that I like to use. If you've got tattoos, don't cover them. Right? No, exactly. Because if somebody the last thing that you want is to portray this fake vision of who you are. Then the person gets in front of you. They don't like you.
Yeah.
Right? You can build an entire business. You can build a multi-7-figure business full of people who you would have dinner with.
You know what? And very important point there. And to everybody again listening, this really circles back to the bigger, higher level of like, be comfortable with who you are. Right?
Totally.
Like accept who you are. Own who you are, right? Because you will find your people. And I mean, to think that, what do we got? 7 or 8 billion people on this planet. We got, 36 million in this country. Like, let's be real and say, you're not going to deal with all of these people. So find
if you try to put an image out there that everyone's going to like, no one's going to love you.
That's right.
Right. And so I say this a lot. I'd rather have 1,000 people who absolutely love me than 100,000 people who, kind of like me.
You know what? And it's a great, look, I'm going to take that for a quick second here and say to anybody who is looking at others around, oh, look how many followers they have. First of all, it's called vanity metrics. Okay.
That means nothing.
It means nothing because really, and I mean, again, you probably very much the same, but as we've got teams and we're marketing strategists and we dig into this stuff, a lot of times you'll see some of these accounts and you go, how is that possible? You look at it and you could tell they're followed by bots. You
They're
can tell that
not
it's fake.
real.
It's not real. And so this whole vanity metric of how many people are liking, how many people are watching, how many people are following. I want everybody to take that for a moment and go, none of it is important. Do not measure yourself based on that.
Yeah.
Get out there. I love what you did, the way you said it there. Forgive me verbatim here, but as opposed to 100,000, it's like, let's find our 1,000. Yeah. Right? Because that's where you're going to grow even more. Now, I've got a question here from one of our Mindshare masters in our VIP room was asking, and I believe I'm understanding this properly. He says, do you mix your volunteer work with your business? And meaning like, do you post it on the same platform, business and personal? How do you kind of mix that up? And where should people be going? Because Jess, that's a big question a lot of people have is like, should I do this on my business? Should I do this on my personal? Both. What do you say? Both. Same post. Same post.
Maybe not at the same day, at the same time.
The same post.
But 100%. And let's think about the algorithm, right? First of all, your business page organically, pretty terrible reach.
Huge, right? Horrible.
And the reason behind that and the reason why is because you're basically waving at Facebook and saying, hey, I'm a business. And they're saying, yeah, me too. I want you to pay to play. And so your business page is a really great place to house your retargeting ads. Right? So that you can hold the social proof from those ads in one place. But your best reach that you are ever going to get is always going to be on your personal pages, on your personal profiles. Totally. So just to use Facebook as an example.
Yep.
Right? You have your personal profile. You have 5,000 opportunities to put people in that profile that are going to see your content organically at a higher rate. Your reach, because that is the social networking part of the platform, right? So your reach is always going to be substantially better. The algorithm works very differently on your personal profile than it does on your business page. And it gives you an opportunity to have it feel like these people they're learning from you, they're getting to know you. It's like they're in your virtual living room, right? And so being able to use your personal profile effectively that way, we have people who between Facebook and Instagram and mostly with their Facebook personal, they're adding 10 deals a month. That's not a small amount of that that's 120 deals a year. And a lot of that just comes down to consistency, frequency, and having the right people in the living room, right? If you're I'll give you this really weird example, and I don't know where this just came from, but when you're at a wedding and 80% of the people at the wedding are 30 years old, but then you have that one table of people that are 80 years old and don't understand the music and are not getting the references and you want to fill the living room or fill your personal Facebook profile with people who are actually relevant. So instead of looking at it as this is just my place to post pictures of my dog for my 5 best friends to see, create a WhatsApp group with your 5 best friends and post your pictures of your dogs in there and use your personal Facebook profile as a marketing platform.
Cool. Okay. I like it. You know what? Building mindshare out there. I think that there's, and there's something to be said too. And we've actually got a brand new keynote called Own Your Audience, which talks all about exactly that and the Facebook platform and the audience that you got on there. And kind of keep it in mind to everybody, you don't own that audience. And so it's always a good idea too, to go in and see, kind of download that list, which you totally can, but download that, start to stripe that against your contact list. And again, to me, when we look at, these new leads, there are a ton of new leads right there that you could actually input into a database and start to, again, leverage more than just the social platforms to stay in touch. Now we're using a multi-channel approach to get in front of people.
You can make a custom audience out of that list very easily as well.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So there's so many ways to get this content and push this content in front of them. But again, we come back to the concept that the content matters so much. Don't spend money. Don't put all of this effort into the same message over and over again, or here's my head and call me, which is what we see so often, or here's my award. Look at me. It's not, when it comes to the authority value content and the social proof content, it's not about you. It's about them.
It's always about them, isn't it?
Well, the personal content side of it, it's again, there's strategy behind it, right? You want to share the things that are also going to connect them to you. Mm-hmm. Right. So there's a purpose behind it. But again, and you mentioned this earlier, the authenticity, the realness, people can feel it, whether it's digital or in person or whatever. People can feel, we're all human lie detectors.
Yeah.
We can feel it. My husband and I in Toronto, we play a game called Spot the Realtor, right? And we'll like drive around and we're like, that's one, right? Because it's almost like invasion of the clones. People get their real estate license and then all of a sudden, all of the personality gets drained out of their social media, the way that everyone dresses the same way. They all drive the same cars. Like, that's not actually going to set you aside. And I know it's almost like this weird club that people want to be a part of that actually hurts their business.
You know, I feel like we could have a very fun drive through the city, doing a lot of those, like, let's look at this sold sign. No, I love it. I think it's awesome. So tell me this, kind of switching gears, but not really. I mean, keeping to the digital stuff and keeping to the social medias and the marketing conversation, which is obviously something that we're both very passionate about. Video.
Yeah.
What say you to everybody about video? Because I'm pushing everybody to get on video.
It's 100% necessary.
You have to be on video these days, right?
And like, honestly, and I say this to people all the time, video is scary.
Yes.
I get it. When I first started creating videos, at first, when I first started creating videos, I used to go on the rooftop of my building and I would record my videos on the roof so that my husband couldn't hear me. Yeah. I was so uncomfortable. And I look back on those videos and I think those were not so good. And that's okay. Yeah. Because really, at the end of the day, you are never going to be like, confidence is not the prerequisite. It's the reward. You will get better and better and better at it the more that you do it. Video is non-negotiable now. How can you ever expect someone to know you, like you, and trust you if they haven't seen your face and they can't hear your voice? They can't see how you talk. Video is, it's how you actually can create this relationship. How can you ever expect for somebody to reach out to you, feel connected to you, if you're not putting out videos and they can't actually feel like you're talking to them?
Look, I've when I first started with it, I was actually, and I mean, it was like, this lockdown days. It's like 5 years ago or something, but I'd walking through the mall, walking through Vegas, walking through like Times Square. I didn't care. I'd rip a video anywhere I was. And I think that was part of like probably the sort of allure to like, oh, where is he now or whatever else. Right. Mm-hmm. But it's funny because you sit there and you do that. Yeah, sometimes you worry about like what the person is actually like they're listening to you do it. Whereas like I could be in a room full of strangers and have no problem. I would say too, though, that I look back on some of those videos, which I thought were great back then. I look at them now, I'm like, whoa, very cringeworthy, right? You're like, I can't believe I did that.
Embarrassed by your first draft or your first videos, you started too late.
Well, okay, good point there. And I mean, the reality is you're probably going to look back at some of these things and go, you know what, but here we are today, and it just continues to get better.
Well,
and
I look back at my Facebook
confidence,
posts,
right? Okay.
I look back at my Facebook posts from when I was like 19, and I'm like, oh God.
I think we all do.
That's the whole. That's.
I can't believe I wore my hair like that.
That's
or whatever,
part of growth.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and the thing to that is too is, as we said about confidence. Confidence breeds success. Success breeds confidence, and it's amazing. So it's just really a matter of trying, and a matter of learning, and a matter of losing. Not really losing, but more learning. And as you sort of do it and try it, and then do it again and try it again, you're on an upward trajectory.
100%.
You're actually winning, which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And again, you like so many people are comparing their day one to someone else's day 100.
Again, vanity match. Stop looking at everybody else. Blinders on, headphones on, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Right. So Jess, lots of great combo today. A lot of it circled around like the digital and the content strategies. And I mean, I think that you and I could go on for a long time about stuff. Listings Lab. Tell us about the Listings Lab quick.
Yeah. So the Listings Lab is my baby. I have no children. I have the Listings Lab. I have birthed the Listings Lab. It's basically like a marketing and mentorship program. I do not really, when it comes to me, I don't use the word coach very often. I do tend to use the word mentor. It's essentially like a roadmap, a step-by-step, a proven strategy to creating these relationships at scale. So it's everything from content to ads, to retargeting, to digital and physical assets. This psychological process, this 9-point psychological journey, it needs to be everywhere. It needs to be on your website. All 9 points need to be on your website. All 9 points need to be included in content. All 9 points need to be in a listing conversation. Like it's giving everybody from a psychology standpoint everything that they need to say yes. And I've always thought, like, when you understand the psychology of it, it seems so much easier. Right? It's not
like many things in life, right?
Yeah, like just like when you have the information, it's almost like, looking at someone else and thinking that person knows something that I don't know, right? Or that person has a secret that I don't know, or that secret ingredient. The psychology is the secret ingredient to everything, right? Every single thing that you do in your life is enrollment. And when you fully understand the psychology behind enrollment, then everything changes. And everything feels easy, and everything feels like it's compounding, and you're building momentum, and it's more fun. And because you're not guessing, and you actually have control over the things that can be stressful in your business.
So as you're working with people, would it be safe to say that a lot of focus is going to be on the content creation and really coming up with that voice and continuing to work to share that voice? Yeah.
Yeah. So from a marketing standpoint, now, it's developing that and then scaling it. Right. And so
talk to me about that. I wanted to ask you about that, like the sustainable, scalable business. Yeah. Define that for me, because that was a lot of stuff you talk about that I've researched.
Yeah.
We titled today's podcast about that. Cool. so give me a little bit of that for a second.
Yeah. So I mean,
not that we haven't already, I think, spoken about.
Yeah. So we have the marketing side of it. Now we have the Listings Lab, which is like essentially like the foundations to the 7-figure business from a marketing standpoint. Now I also have a program called the 7-Figure Agent, which is, it's systems and automation, team and hiring. It's basically like, how do you take the foundation of a 6-figure business with a 7-figure business marketing foundation and actually get it to 7 figures with freedom? And the freedom piece is the most important thing to me. I have been that super burnt out realtor, but I have also been that super leveraged, super happy realtor. Right. And there's a very big difference between the two businesses. I think that pretty much anybody who's really, 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 really stubborn can hustle their way to 7 figures and complete and be a shell of themselves. But at the same time, what we're talking about here is, people get into real estate for 3 reasons: unlimited income, being able to set your own schedule and feel in control of your life, and being able to help people. That's kind of your trifecta, right? So a lot of the time what ends up happening is the agent becomes the bottleneck in the business, and they get stuck at 200, 250,000. And they keep hitting that ceiling because they're trying to do everything themselves. Mm-hmm. Or they're really not properly leveraged. So what we're talking about is, yes, you need to have almost, too much business coming in, which is again why we teach the attraction marketing stuff, because it is the most scalable. So we have, too much business coming in, and then that's really where the systems, the automation, the team, having the right people in the right seats. I really love small, lean teams, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of having 10 people doing 10 deals, I'd rather have a smaller group of people who are doing 50 to 100 deals each. Right. And so it comes down to, how do we find these people? How do we train them? How do we give them the systems? How do we have standard operating procedures so that people don't care that they're not working with you, because they're getting exactly the same level of service that they would get from you anyway? And how do we take what magic you have and basically scale it so that you can move to the Bahamas and you can run your team from wherever you want? And we have people who have gone from 250 to 3 million in production in 2 years. But it's not just the marketing; it's the entire business as a whole, right? Like what got you here won't get you there.
Right. So tell me this then, because I mean, between all the people that we work with that are incredibly busy and successful, they're very, very busy. I know I'm very busy. You seem incredibly busy. We talk about freedom. Busy. Oh, well, nice. I guess maybe. No. But when we look at that, and freedom and flexibility also, that's kind of the way I look at it. Like, people get into the business for those 2 reasons, right? Freedom and flexibility. with so much to do in a day, how do we manage that work-life balance while still creating that financial freedom? Are you a hardcore scheduler? Are you like, do you
I'm
use
a really big
calendar?
believer that like you can run a multi-7-figure business and work 3 hours a day.
Oh, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. And
now,
I think
would you say that you need a list, you need a schedule somewhere, you need something that you're looking at to keep you going?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, yes, but also you should only be focused in on the highest leverage activities. You know, so like if I look at somebody's schedule and we determine that they should be at $1,000 an hour, they should not have anything on their calendar or on their schedule that's not $1,000 an hour. Mm-hmm. Everything else that, if we put a value on it that's less than that is either done by technology or it's done by someone else.
Mm-hmm. I think I opened up a can of worms with that one. We'll have to extend that conversation on another time. But question for you, looking ahead now, as we're at the onset of a brand new year. Boy, did we not see, everything coming that it was. I think that we all thought that this stuff was going to be over when we started 2021, but here we are. We're still here. Where do you think we're headed in 2022 when it comes to our industry? What's your message to people? What should they be paying attention to as we progress through the next 364 some odd days or whatever it is here?
I mean, I really think that making sure. Yeah, where are we now?
Doing my math right now.
I think it all comes down to relevancy, right? Like I am every single person that we're working with, we're re-interviewing. We're doing market research again. What are the new pain points? What are the new concerns? What are the things that people are keeping people up at night that they're not necessarily sharing out there on social media with everybody, right? So getting that messaging so that again you can cut through the noise and people are like, wow, this person's inside my brain. I feel like this person's like, have you tapped my phone? These are the conversations I'm having with my husband, with my wife, with my partner.
This, correct me if I'm wrong, would come back to now really working with the people that but digging, asking questions, learning, listening to feedback and taking that and again, turning that back into content to share back to people.
Yeah.
Right. There's the education around it, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite questions here. How do you know that it's been a successful day for you?
I would say people are happy. I'm happy. That's really, like we said at the beginning of the show, I'm moving to the Bahamas in 8 days. So, I think that a successful day will be different. I think that for me, it's just, have I provided value today?
Boom. Hitting it out of the park. Thank you. You're keeping our average up. I mean, just every single guest we have is absolutely awesome. Value, helping other people, happy, helping other people. It never comes back to money.
No.
Everybody tuned in that is always tuned in. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for doing so. Again, we have somebody else who just said the exact same thing. And I want everybody to really listen to that because we talked a ton about content today. We talked a ton about building relationships today, the importance of how you can grow your business, how to be authentically who you are, how to be happy with who you are. And I really want to, sum that up with a big, sort of exclamation mark and maybe an underline, say to everybody, the big thing here is through that content, through those relationships, not thinking about how to serve yourself, but how to serve others, how to help other people. And the more you do that, this big wide world that we live in has a way of serving this stuff back up to us. So thank you for that one, Jess. Last question for you here. Last words, tips. People's mindsets are at an ultimate low right now. And this is more just a byproduct of, again, the elephant in the room. What say you to anybody about, again, mindset, about keeping their chins up, about, marketing or just like give them like a sort of a takeaway if they take off today, please.
Results don't take time. They take courage. Do the thing that scares you. And have fun doing it. Fear of failure, I think, keeps us all very small. What if it was fun? What if it was just feedback?
Ooh, you went deep there. I like that. Yeah, I like that. I got to internalize that one. And you know what? You use a real word that's very real of fear, right? And results taking courage. And it really does come down to that. And I mean, again, it reminds me, and I think I might have brought this up previously. So for everybody else who's heard me say this, forgive me, but reading a recent book that I was reading, one of the President Kennedy had asked one of his advisors, what's it going to take to go to the moon? And the advisor responded and said, the will to do it.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was good. Because that's really what it comes down to. We all have choices in life. We all have choices of what we can do and which way we want to go with things. And really the courage is absolutely important in getting past your fears. Yeah, you could just realize that it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, of course. So, if you're not having fun, what's the point?
Oh, that's it. And I've had a lot of fun today. Jess, where can people find you?
So if you are on Facebook, I have a Facebook group actually. It has about 23,000 agents in it.
Nice.
It is called the Listings Lab Method for Real Estate Agents. And my Kindle pre-order for my book launched yesterday. The book is called More Money, Less Hustle.
Yeah, congratulations on that. I should have mentioned that. Forgive me. That is very, very cool. I saw that through some other channels. Very, very cool. Big congratulations on that.
Thank you. So you can find it only on Amazon right now. It's just the pre-order. It's called More Money, Less Hustle, Becoming the Seven-Figure Real Estate Agent. Nice.
Well, I certainly encourage everybody, go and check that out. Go grab a copy of that. Jess, you've been doing some great stuff out there in the industry. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show here today. I thank you for the time, for the insights, and I'm looking forward to doing it again, really. But
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'd love to come back.
We'll do it from the Bahamas.
Definitely.
When I come over.
Absolutely.
And then maybe we'll just figure out a way that I could package up a palm tree and take it home. Or I mean, if you ship it to me, that's good too. I'm down. Palm trees.
You got it.
That's okay. No, but seriously, this has been absolutely amazing. Once again, a big thank you to you. You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. And while you're on my site, make sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle for Realtors. This is a 31-page ebook packed with a ton of tips and tricks for you. Plus, there's a ready-to-go 90-day social media content calendar to help you build more mind share so that you can get more market share. And if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching to help you get to your next level, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a free consultation call, learn more about what you're looking to achieve and how I will help you do just that. Also, don't forget that our push to 100 is on. All you have to do, this is super easy, is just go to www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Again, www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. And of course, if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to once again thank Virginia Munden and the Buzz Conference for sponsoring today's episode. Quick note, as I mentioned off the top today, due to provincial legislation, the Buzz has had to reschedule the live in-person Recharge 2022 event, which was set to take place on January 13th at the Mississauga Living Arts Center, to March 31st. So there's more details to come on that. However, there will still be a January 13th event. It is set to be virtual, so be for sure to visit their site, www.thebuzzconference.com, and follow them on Instagram at The Buzz Conference to keep tabs on all of the awesome events they are always hosting, along with getting the latest copy of the Buzz digital magazine. And of course, I want to thank Kit's Keep in Touch Systems for sponsoring today's episode. If you haven't checked this out yet, just go to my website, mindshare101.com, and click on Marketing. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.